Are you tired of your training being stuck in the past? Want to modernize your approach without straying from the methodology that started it all? Sentinel Training is for you.
Do you want to improve your training and reach your fittest potential? Well, what are you waiting for? Start your free trial today.
Sentinel Training is varied and fun. Keeps you on track even if you won't run. Taylor and Bryson work so hard you can tell. They even have ebooks for in a hotel.
No more gimmicks, no more out-of-date and tired ideas. The year is 2025. Start training like it. Sentinel Training. Evolve or get left behind.
You can go to trainsentinel.com and you can join, or you can just scan that QR code in the bottom right. You can go to biomaxpeptides.com and you can use CPW for free shipping. Globally, Jason, globally, they ship. I thought it was only North America, which is huge.
Why would you only ship to North America?
I don't know, like the rest of the world exists. Frog grips, you can use CPW 16. You're after going, you had perfect internet before that ad played, and now you've gone chop. It seems to be writing itself. We'll stick with it and see what happens. If it drops, I'll let you know.
Okay.
How are you? How was the weekend? So you're the event director. You kind of put all those jigsaw pieces in place that we saw. How do you think it went?
Oh boy. There's a lot to that question, but I mean, overall, I think it went great and we pulled off a good weekend. But as always, I've been running events for a long time, and I don't leave an event where I was like, oh, that was perfect. We as a team break that stuff down, and there's some things that happen that I wish wouldn't have happened, and I take responsibility as the event director for all of them. No matter what's going on in the event, it's on me to make sure that those things, athletes are taken care of, judges are taken care of, volunteers are taken care of, live streamers taken care of. Like, it ultimately falls on my shoulders. So are there things that I want to fix and things that we need to go back and review? 100%. But it was another good tour stop. The facility was good. The crowd was great. We were wondering how the crowd was going to be, and in the desert in August. So, but it was good. I mean, overall, I think it's nowhere near perfect. It's not an A, but for our second tour stop, I mean, I'm happy with what the team has been doing. So we're pleased.
Did you find out who put that GHD together?
I mean, I know all of that information, and it's really not a matter of who put it together because it had been on the floor for a while. It's a process that we follow when athletes are allowed to touch it. And so there's a breakdown in that process. Once an athlete, modifies a piece of equipment, it's got to be checked. And if everybody wants to know exactly what happened, I'm happy to share. If anybody's ever done a GHD, this was not a equipment failure. This was the seat was set, not the seat, the roller pads were set above the pin accidentally by an athlete. And so when it was checked, it looked like the pin was through, and that's on me and my team to not do everything we can to make sure the security of that is. But that's really what happened. It wasn't a rogue issue at all. It's human error. So again, I take responsibility for that action.
With World Fitness Project, so when Will and Jackson came on my show, like, I don't know, I actually can't remember when it was, like January or something.
Right.
Just after the kind of events were launched and stuff or announced, there was this kind of, I guess, assumption maybe, and maybe it was kind of alluded to that, like, the idea was to kind of right the wrongs of the CrossFit Games season almost, that it was like there was going to be transparency, there was going to be clarity, there was going to be, consistent earnings, there was going to be sort of learnings based off the 18 years of the games going on. Do you think that has set the World Fitness Project up for more scrutiny than other competitions? Like that there's almost like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme of like pointing at the screen that like if there's anything that goes wrong, and then there was a few little things in say tour one, and then tour two, I was kind of watching and thinking, are they all so stressed that they might fuck up? And then there's just everybody, like not everybody, but like there's more mistakes then because everybody's on edge and everybody's waiting to like for a mistake to happen almost.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that expectations were high for sure. I mean, look at the athletes that we have. It's going to be, the bar is going to be set high. Will was a former games athlete in the space. He's extremely passionate about the athlete side and making sure the athlete's taken care of. And so that was the onset of what World Fitness Project was trying to do. And so trying to dot your I's and cross your T's in event one with a team that's never worked together is hard enough, let alone being under a microscope of everybody really enjoying finding the things that you can do wrong so they can, ultimately laugh at you and make fun of you. That's really what it is. So now, are we setting ourselves up for that? We don't think so, but we understand to a degree that we are looked at differently because of the athletes that we have. We're in this space. And Tour 2, do I think Tour 1 went better than Tour 2? I mean, from the outsider's perspective, I think more people were ready for something to go wrong. We really had one major mishap. That was a human error thing. That really wasn't a team issue. It was a process issue, again, that I've already taken responsibility for. The other things are just equipment doesn't work sometimes, and that's what happens. That happens at every event. It's if you drive a white car, all of a sudden you see white cars everywhere. So if you're looking for an error, you're going to see errors everywhere. It's that type of a mentality. That's psychology 101. Anybody that understands that process, you can find what you're looking for if you want to. I don't blame them. We don't ignore it. We hear the issues that really need to be addressed, and some of them are just people being people, and we're all human, and we're going to continue to make mistakes. We just hope we get better at it. But yeah, we've set the bar high. Tour 1 set the bar high. I hope that Copenhagen sets the bar even higher for next season and what we have planned. But I think you're right about that. Yeah.
Do you think is the criticism fair, do you think, or do you think has the company or the events or whatever been unfairly treated, or do you think it's kind of fair game?
Well, it's obviously fair game. That's been made clear. Do I think everything that's said is fair? Of course not. But I think that, anything that has that much scrutiny, you have to listen to some of it, and some of it you have to learn to ignore. It doesn't mean that you forget what you've done. It doesn't mean you don't have a plan moving forward, but some of it just has to get put in pockets. And as an event director, I try to understand. I try to lean on, hey, the very first year I ever started events, how many things went wrong? Well, nobody was watching, so you got time to correct them, not under a microscope. And we're not in that situation. And the team has come together really well, and we just have not worked together a long time. We add pieces to it together all the time, and none of those are excuses. They're all reasons. But again, I'm proud of everybody. If everybody wants to make fun of us and find the little bitty things we don't do well, that's kind of the nature of the sport right now. It's sad that it's that way, but I also understand from my chair that what I signed up for, and it doesn't bother me at all. I wish there was a little bit more positivity around it, and hopefully we can change that moving forward. All of the athletes that we talked about and the spectator interaction we had this weekend, we talked to a lot of people that, of course, weren't at Tour 1 just because of where we're at in the country. And, they changed their mind on a lot of things because they came and watched and they saw our team, and we visited a lot of gyms. And, you can't visit every gym in the country in every market. But when we're there and we're in person and we're taking care of business and we're passionate about doing this, we love the sport. We love the space. I've owned 4 CrossFit gyms in my day, and I've been in the space for a long time, and it means a lot to us. I'm extremely passionate about competition. I'm extremely passionate about the events. I gave up my gyms to go do events full time. So World Fitness Project isn't the only event that I do. And I run 2 other really large competitions. And so we're refining that process as we go. It's a learning process, and it's not easy, and we're not perfect, and we're not great at everything that we do, but we've put together 2 really good shows with some mistakes.
So Monster Games, and what's the other event that you run?
Heart of America Team Competition, HOA.
Okay. And is this sustainable, do you think, running the 2 of those and doing the World Fitness Project thing together? Will it all work out for you, do you think?
No, it's not sustainable. You know, we're in the process of, but I mean, look, I mean, how can it be, right? Like Fitness Project is growing, and I owe a lot of time dedicated to what they're having me do. And so we're in the process of working through a lot of that stuff. I've been able to hand off a lot of work to a lot of people with my other events to make sure that we moved Monster Games to a whole new market this year. So as soon as Indy was over, you know, I was making sure that went off. I owe my Monster Games community everything as well. So that's just kind of where we are. You know, we're in year one. We're feeling all of this out, and we're making wise decisions along the way. And there's going to be changes. Any company that doesn't change year over year, I'll show you a company that doesn't exist, and we're going to look different. My company is going to look different. World Fitness Project is going to look different. I hope for the better. I mean, that's the plan. That's the goal. You know, we want to do right by the media. We want to do right by the spectators. We want to do right by the athletes. We want to do right by the agents and the coaches, the gyms that support us, the cities that give up their venue space for us and do everything they can to make our hotel stays good. And all of those things, it's just a puzzle that we're putting together. And it can't be done perfectly overnight, but that's the goal.
So is it how big picture is your role? So say if you're tasked with organizing an event in North America, right? Do you go like pick the city, the venue, like everything, or is it like, okay, we want to have an event and we want to have it in Seattle, and then you go to Seattle and find somewhere? How does it, who picks where to go?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Oh dear.
I'm sorry. Did I lose you? Are we back?
Your voice is there, but your face is not.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah. Can you hear me? This is like watching the lifting event. Maybe I'll boot. Oh, he's going to go and come back. Guys, that was a hilarious joke. How many poods? You know, I've never understood the conversion rate between poods and like pounds or kilos. Hello. Was that internet related, or did you get a call?
I am in the venue, and I'm sorry. I don't know why this is doing this now.
That's okay.
I have full signal.
Can you hear me or no? I mean, asking that question is probably relevant. I'm just going to let him turn it off, turn it back on again, maybe. For Jason's Wi-Fi, yeah. It's, where is that? Someone... So this comment, please fix the website layout. Stream on YouTube, turn on the damn lights. So when I read that first, I was like, the fuck is wrong with my website layout? My lights are on. I thought he was talking about my thing, but he's not, so that's fine. Let's go again.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I apologize. I'm in Arizona Athletic Grounds, and I have signal, so I don't know what's going on.
Chris has you sorted. Chris has donated $1.99 for your Wi-Fi, so that's, you know.
Chris Barr, thank you, Chris. That's good.
Yeah, so picking the city.
Yeah. So picking a city, that's what I was hired for. So when the very first thing that they did was we did not have markets, and I was hired December 16th. I was working the Legends Championship. I was a member of the Masters CrossFit Games team and Legends last year. That's what I did. And so when I left them and came on board with World Fitness Project, the very first thing I did was I left Legends, and all the way home, my wife was driving, and I'm trying to find us a venue. And I'm trying to find us a venue that, contrary to popular belief, was not on top of other things that CrossFit was doing. We tried really hard to do that. We even picked a venue first. I had a venue selected as Oklahoma City. And no dates were released. So we were blindly choosing dates that we thought would be open based upon history, which is all that we had to go on. So I had chosen Oklahoma City. We were going to be downtown at the convention center, and I had worked with them. They had bid really hard to get Monster Games to move there, and I wound up choosing Kansas City over Oklahoma City. So I already knew the venue. I already knew the sports commission really well. I'd already worked with the city. The downtown area was beautiful. The convention center was amazing. And so we had selected that. And after we had verbally committed to do that, the sports commission kind of gave me a heads up that CrossFit was coming. And I was like, they're coming to the convention center? And he's like, no, they're going to go to the fairgrounds. And I was like, okay. So I called the team and I was like, guys, we're out like the exact same weekend that we thought, even though the convention center was open, TFX was going to be there. And obviously we were not going to do that. So we had to pull out. And so that left us with what we thought was a place to go. And we just started next available dates. And the only open date that made any sense for venues being open, timeline that made sense, and affecting the least amount of athletes as humanly possible was we went to Grand Park in Westfield, Indiana. And I believe that was on the French Throwdown, was the only one that was on top of. So that was kind of that process. But at the same time, I'm also choosing Tour Stop 2 because we were wanting to make an announcement for Tour Stop 2. So that's where Arizona came into play. I've spent a lot of time out here. I helped run the Desert City Classic with Adam Everett and his brother-in-law, Ryan. When I say I helped them run it, I have been a part of their leadership team for a while. Legends has been out here. So I'm very familiar with the market, and I knew Arizona Athletic Grounds existed. I knew summer would probably be open out here. And so we wanted to get as far away from the CrossFit Games and also shying away from, the Tier Cup in California as well. So that kind of left Labor Day weekend open. And we felt like it was far enough away that the athletes could, it would be okay for them to do that. And so that was the thought process between those two cities. And those were chosen pretty early on, and they were kind of put together after the fact. But we had to choose those cities and get deals done pretty quickly so we could announce the season because, athletes wanted to know, like, hey, where are we going? What are we doing before I sign? They wanted to have some sort of an idea. So we were really trying our due diligence on the front side. I can say that Tour Season 2 has had a whole lot more thought just because we've been thinking about it for months. But that's how Season 1 was put together.
There was a lot made about, I think you said that December 8th or 18th or whatever, you said that on a podcast before, and there was a lot made about the fact that the timelines didn't line up, and there's been a lot of talk about the opportunistic nature maybe of the World Fitness Project starting, when it started and the way it started and stuff. Like, what do you think to that kind of narrative, like the fact that it was born out of like Lazar dying at the games last year, that was kind of the impetus for it to start, and that it seems to have really kicked into gear after that, and before that it looked more like a kind of like a charity like a gym, a facility that was going to be built for teams to train at, and maybe there was going to be an event or two added, and then all of a sudden it grew legs and was global and signing contracts and stuff. Like, what do you think to people who say that it looked opportunistic?
I mean, there's really nothing you can say to change people's mind. I mean, the timing is, it is what it is. It was being put together in the background before I came on board. Again, I wasn't even approached until November. I didn't agree to a contract until December 16th. So that was well after the season, and a lot of things had already been put together. But, I did talk a lot about, what the vision was. And I had a lot of like private conversations with Will about, talk to me about what it was like competing as an athlete and what we're wanting to do different. Like, explain to me the problems that you had so I can understand, because I was not a games athlete, and I need to understand what you went through in your career. He had a lot of ups and downs and injuries and all of the things trying to make it back. So after we had those conversations, it actually came on the heels of him retiring and winning the Masters CrossFit Games last year. And it was kind of the next iteration of what was coming for him. And I think a lot of athletes communicated with him that they would be open to something different. And that's kind of where it went from there. And that's kind of when I stepped into the picture at that point.
What kind of problems did arose or like were mentioned as problems that athletes faced? Like you said, you had that conversation with Will. Maybe you don't want to share like personal details, but like, is there kind of a broad strokes of like what
Sure.
sort of issues were felt?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's private information that it's expensive. You know, you can go the whole season and not make $1 and pay registration fees and open fees and travel fees and hotels and airplanes and walk away with nothing. And that's hard. And so the intent was like, what can we do as a pro to change that? And how are we going to do that? What does it look like for the athletes to have that? What does it look like for the brands that are these, you know, sponsors of these pros to kind of come together and do that? So, yeah, I mean, we have, I think Alex Gazan, I'm not speaking for her, but I think it's a great example. She went through the whole game season and didn't, you know, got injured, unfortunately, and was not able to make any money through this whole season. So in prior years where her season might have been looked at as a wash or, you know, kind of over, she has an opportunity to continue on in our sport based upon how the seasons lay out. And so I think that's really where we're wanting to go. It doesn't mean that what we've put together is perfect, and we're not putting together things so, you know, when athletes get hurt, they have escape route, but people get sick. People have, you know, family life. They have terrible weekends when they're training. So, you know, people that do really well at Tour 1 may not do really well at Tour 2 and vice versa. They, you know, Patrick Velder, you know, may finish in the 20s at Tour 1 and then he may come back and podium, you know, at Tour 2, right? We have opportunities to right our wrongs, and everybody has a whole lot of stuff going on, and financially it's hard. This space is really, really hard to stick to it financially. I have a lot of connections with some next tier level athletes, I guess you would call them, that they struggle with figuring out how long can I make a go at this before I have to just say I got to go get a job and enough is enough. And I think that's really at the heart of it. If we can start to turn that tide, I think that's a positive thing for the athlete.
Yeah. I think Alex earned a good bit at NorCal, but yeah, I mean, her games earnings were cut,
Well,
like her actual games earnings were cut. The system then, I think it's funny, Spin put up a reel and I collabed on earlier on of Dallin and Jason kind of saying like, you know, it was a callback to, I can't remember when it was, 8 months ago or something, like January, of Dallin, Spin and O'Keefe were on a show, and Spin was kind of saying, you know, it's going to be hard for the athletes to compete and to lift themselves, and it's, you know, maybe it's just going to be too much and they're going to have to choose whatever. And Dallin was kind of saying like, no, it'll be fine. And O'Keefe was saying, that's great, they have opportunity. And then it cut to the Boys Interrupted podcast where Jason was like, man, and there was times I just didn't want to be there. And Dallin was saying, yeah, Thursday night I was like, wow, we're really doing this again. And, you know, kind of lifting themselves after the games. There's been some withdrawals. There's been some, you know, pregnancy, injury, I guess just like burnout or fatigue or preventing potential injury, I guess. That can obviously affect. So like the finals now in Copenhagen, they're for obviously to win, and then there's also the pro card issue, or, you know, carrot or whatever for next year, for 2026, that if you finish inside the top 20 you get a pro card, and there's people that are on the cusp of dropping out of that, and then if they're injured or sick or whatever, if they're in a dangerous position, their chance is gone basically, and someone, you know, Chris or whoever might, Jack Farley or whoever might step up and take their spot. Is there efforts, do you think, going to be made to make that more? So there's 3 opportunities this year, say. So next year, is it going to be like more? Is it going to be like, right, well, if we have 6, and even if they miss 2, they could still keep their pro card if they make 4, if they make 3 or whatever?
I mean, I think that at some point, I mean, that's just the nature of sport. You know, the cut line is going to be, I think, super fun to watch. I'm interested in seeing, you know, who's in 20th and who's in 21st. I think there's a storyline there that's never existed before. I mean, the storyline this year at the games was who gets paid and who doesn't. Ours is like who gets a pro card for next year and who doesn't. I think that's really interesting. I hope that people see it that way. And as far as adding tour stops, yeah, I mean, that's the goal. We're not adding 10 tour stops in the future. That's not what we're doing, but there needs to be another one added, and we will be adding another tour stop next year. That's all in the works. So
Just
we
one.
feel like, yeah, we feel like 3 and a final for next year is what we can handle and what makes sense. And so there again, we're changing as we're morphing through and seeing how some things play out. That's what that's going to look like.
There was, when I'll come back to the pro cars and stuff in a minute, there was interview, I think it was either the first time or the second time, I can't remember, when Will and Jackson came on, and they said that I asked, are you going to approach some events? Are you going to approach, like, Wadapalooza or Dubai or whatever, and add them to your tour stop? And the answer I got, if I remember correctly, was like a resounding no. We're always going to establish our own events. It's going to be, we're going to start from scratch and do it our way, and we don't want to take on something that's already established or whatever. And then there was rumors in the last couple of weeks that you guys approached Torian and asked them to become a tour stop. Is that changing now? Is that incorrect, or is it changing that you will? Because I heard a rumor about an event in Mexico as well, and some other already established events. Is that rule changing or just morphing?
Well, I don't think it was ever a rule. I mean, I understand the statement prior to the season starting. So again, I would just kind of go back to, if we're not learning anything as we run through the season, then we're probably not going to serve the community very well. So yeah, I would say it makes a lot of sense to talk to some other competitions, because we do need to be global. We need to be everywhere. And so in order to be everywhere, we're going to have to talk to some people and find out what fits us and what doesn't fit us. And some are going to fit and some aren't. But we are looking to expand our footprint around the globe. And that's important to us. It's important to us as the World Fitness Project to be around the world. And it's just going to take a little bit of time to develop what that looks like.
Do you not think that, so we talked about the criticism and stuff that you guys get, or the negativity that you get. A lot of that got louder when you launched affiliates. I know that's not your specific role or whatever, but when that started, it was seen as it's only going to detract from the CrossFit ecosystem, say, like the affiliates and all that. Like, it's just a distraction or a withdrawal from those people, from those gyms or whatever. Do you not think that approaching something like Torian is just like dropping a nuke, or like it's just like a declaration of war to be like a semi-final or a CrossFit event from an affiliate that's been there like 16 years, and an event that's been there, I don't know, 8, 10 or whatever, to approach them rather than be like, I don't know, let's start our own event in Australia, or let's go for a smaller event that hasn't been intrinsically linked with the game season for the last number of years?
Those are good questions. As far as the fitness project sides go, I would lean on talking to the people that signed on as our founding 50 and ask them, what's your opinion? Are we coming in and trying to take anything away from you, or are we trying to add to? That's really all that, I can say about that. It's not my side, you're right. But I do go to a lot of activations. I spent 10 days in Europe, going across gyms and walking into gyms and listening to not gym owners. My job was I spent a lot of time just going and talking to members and working out with them and finding out. So I think we get different stories when we talk to different people. So perception is what it is. People are going to say whatever they want to say, but the people that we're talking to and going in on we've had some really good conversations, and they're wanting to be part of something. We're not requiring anybody to not be a part of a CrossFit affiliate. That's, any rumor that's been said about that it's just not true. That's not even in our pitch, our conversation. We don't ask that. We don't really care. They're able to spend their money how they see fit. We hope that we provide them something. But from my chair, what I see and what I go in on is I try to spend as much time with those people as possible and just listen to them. So as we make changes, and we will continue to make changes, we're making them based upon feedback from the community, not from the media.
Is Torian still a possibility, do you think?
I think there's a lot that are possibilities for sure. So, I mean, I don't want to speak too much on that. I know what you're trying to get at.
Timing.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I'm not sure you can hear me.
All right, I'll reset this real quick. I do not know why this is doing this. It's not my Wi-Fi. I apologize.
No worries. Who knows? Or Jason might know. I heard they declined, but I don't know. If the main goal is to make the athletes money, then the event needs to be for the fans. That's how free markets work. Hello. Oh wow, your connection's way better than it was.
I'm sorry, guys. It's not my house. I would fix it. I have no idea how to fix the Wi-Fi here. I'm so sorry. I know
It's way better. It's way.
Okay.
You don't look like you're made out of Lego anymore. So that's great.
Okay,
That's a big bonus. No apology
Sorry.
needed. So you're
Yeah.
pleading the fifth on Torian.
I'm not pleading the fifth. I mean, I understand the question. It's important to the community, but all I can say is Australia is important to us, but so is South America, and so is Mexico, and so is Canada. Like, we have a lot of places that are important. We're gonna have a lot of conversations. I will say that, but I can't. I mean, I can't go in and divulge the conversations that we've had with who we've had, but I understand the question.
So global, then, does that mean you've 3 and a final next year, and that's, I'll just stab in the dark, say 3 will be 2 in North America, 1 in Europe, and then a final maybe potentially in Europe or something. So you've got you still got other continents to hit there. Does that mean that in time there'll be 6, maybe 8 events?
Now, 8's too many. I think everybody can agree that 8's too many. 6 might be too many. But again, I don't want you to have me back on in 2 years and say that I said 6 was too many when we have 6. But I would say that, looking at a calendar, 6 feels like a lot, right? I mean, that feels like a lot. I think 5 is possible in the future. Depending on what they are, they may not all of the events may also not look like the current events. They may be different style events. But yeah, 8 is a lot. That's too many to try to host around in order to make sense. But yeah, we are looking to expand that and to have some more opportunities in different places that, maybe every pro doesn't necessarily have to go to, because, if we have, let's say for argument's sake, which we don't have 6 events, maybe we take your top 4 scores, right? And so you don't have to go to all of them in order to get enough points. So that's a possibility to do something like that, especially for extending our reach to different edges of the globe that not everybody can get to. We would look at a season that looked a little bit more like other sports do, where you don't necessarily have to compete in everything to qualify.
Is there anything in contracts and stuff, say, is there anyone who's can't lose a pro card? Is there anyone, if they dropped out, where it's just be oh God, we can't have them not have it?
No, there's not.
Interesting.
Yeah.
With the events then, so your role this year is North America, and then Roger is, how do you say his surname? Is it Gilross?
Gilross.
Gilross, okay. So he's Europe, so there's only North America and Europe this year, say.
Yeah.
Will you continue to share those responsibilities, do you think? Or how will that, or will you bring on an extra person, or what?
No, I mean, I'm going to take on a larger role as we continue to go on. I mean, somebody has to kind of oversee the whole thing, and then lean into each of those markets. So I will wind up being the event director for the director of events for the company, and then as we go into these markets, we'll lean heavily on all of them for help.
The locals.
Yeah.
The finals then, they're in Copenhagen. Any kind of nervousness around the fact that they're in Copenhagen and that it's the end of the year, it'll be after Rogue, athletes will have traveled to Rogue, gone back to America, be fuck, it's 4 days before Christmas, do I want to go? Is there any kind of nerves about that?
I mean, there's a lot on the line. So I've talked to some athletes this week, and I got to tell you, I think part of the reason why you heard a lot of uproar this week is because because people are caring more. They're starting to feel it a little bit, because who wants to have their pro card taken away, really? That's whatever you guys want to say about it, that's not what it felt like here. So I don't know if anybody had people here that was telling you otherwise, but if you were in the building, and I know you know some people that I know really well in the building, and I think they would tell you that standing back in athlete appeals and listening to some conversations, I would push back pretty hard on that. I mean, they care. It's evident. Our appeals were up, and it's not because we just all of a sudden got terrible at what we do for a living. Appeals are up because people are starting to care. I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense, right? So you can feel it, you can see it. I saw plenty of indications of that over the weekend, which is great. That's what we want. I want the engagement with the athlete to understand. I want to see that. I want them to have a little passion. I want them to yell at us about things. I want them to say they don't understand why this happened. Why is this happening to me? This doesn't mean we need that engagement. Like, that's never existed in this space before. Go talk to anybody that had a conversation with appeals and ask them if they were heard and listened to. And I think that you guys might be surprised what we're willing to hear. And it has nothing to do with who they are. It has everything to do with what we're willing to do and make right. That's the goal. That is the goal of what we're trying to do, is to make this right.
I heard, so I spoke to someone who said, historically, if you go to the CrossFit Games and you appeal something, that you will either be dismissed out of hand, or you'll get some kind of paltry, like, okay, here's 2 seconds or whatever, like something. And they were not concerned, but they noted that perhaps the World Fitness Project has overcorrected and has maybe been too lenient with its appeal process and too giving with, say, Austin moving up to whatever it was, 16th, and like those kind of jumps where after the fact you're kind of looking at it being like, whoa, like there was one event where Emma Tall moved up like 20 spots or something, and it was probably the only one that there was no press release about. So I don't really know what happened. It was like a lunge or something. But it's like those kind of ones where you're like, wow, like that's a huge shift. She went from second to first in the leaderboard overnight. Like Laura won in the end anyway. But it's a huge shift, which historically hasn't happened in the sport. Like, do you think, is there any truth to that? Do you think that maybe it's an overcorrection a bit, that might need to be reined in a bit?
I don't think so. Talk to the athletes that we held the standard to what they were wrong. We're not changing this based upon someone feeling like they got low enough on a thruster. That's not what this is. This is like when someone is wrong. I mean, do you think Austin Hatfield would have, is he the 16th best in the world at that workout? I mean, there's not a lot of workouts he finishes lower than 16th on, and that's not how we base it. But when you look at where his numbers are, and we went back,
it's even like when you watch the heat and you're like, there's people ahead of him when it happened who he then did better than. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, how can you predict how much speed he'll make up in the workout? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I know what you mean. There's not an easy answer to that situation. That was an unfortunate situation. But we did
great memes came out of it, though. So, I mean, if nothing else.
There were some really good memes that came out of that. You're right. And I mean, if you're asking me if our situation is perfect, I'm going to go back and say, no, it's not. But how do you ever know, where the edge is if you don't take it there? And we're not trying to find the edge, but we are trying to listen to the athlete. And that was a situation that was, in particular, we spent a lot of time. We didn't take that lightly. We knew exactly what was going to happen because there was no finish to that workout. So how do you do that? Well, that has not been written before. So some of that we're having to write a little bit of history, and it doesn't mean that we're always going to get it exactly right, but we feel like we did the right thing, even though it may have upset some other people and looked strange. There was a data set behind it that we spent a lot of time and we talked to a lot of different people about, and all it means is like, don't put yourself in that position, and let's do a better job with my team and make sure that I'm holding everybody accountable, including myself, on not allowing stuff like that to happen. So it's on me. It's on us. It's not Austin Hatfield's fault. I don't know where he would have finished in that workout, and neither does anybody else. So we applied what we could apply to it. It may not have come out exactly, but it was an unfortunate situation that we had to address head on, and we did.
What happened with Emma Tall's lunge? Was it was kind of hard. The finish of that workout had a lot of camera cuts where it was kind of hard to track like what was happening. It was almost like it was scripted. There was like nobody will ever know, but it was like she lunged. It looked like she lunged across the line. Maybe her back heel was like touching the line or something. Didn't clear fully. It's kind of hard because you zoomed out, but it basically looked like the judge just kind of almost waited for her to do another lunge. And then she didn't. And then he said, you need to do another lunge. And then she just did a random lunge in the middle of nowhere where she had taken a couple of steps. And he was like, no, that's a no rep. You have to go back. But then it looked like overnight she got her original time. Is that accurate?
No, that's not accurate. She did not get her original time. Her original time, well, first of all, she didn't have an original time because she didn't complete that first movement. So she was given a miscue by a judge. That was a human error. And anytime we can confirm that through tape and conversation, we're going to right the wrong. And Emma
so
was,
she had cleared the line, but he thought she hadn't, is it?
No, she was given, well, it was a little bit of both. So she was given a cue that she was finished, and she went to put the dumbbells down, and he said one more step, which caused her to shuffle. So this was not an Emma Tall's fault. So that's what that situation looked like. So a miscue by the judge, an error by the judge, caused her to fall to 21st place in that workout, and that was not Emma Tall's fault. And so we were able to go by video evidence, and we were able to go and prove that. And so we did, she was still given a time penalty based on where she would have finished if she just, completed the workout. So she still got a penalty, which she wasn't happy about. But we did the fairest thing that we could do for her in that situation because she was given a miscue as a human error, which we take accountability for. And
what was the cue? Because I watched that a few times. Unless he like blinked at her, I didn't see much happening.
Well, yeah. So I mean, I'll kind of hold that, for us internally. But there was a verbal cue given that was incorrect. So.
Okay. Are you happy with like the turnout with the fans? I heard there was tickets given away for this one. Is that kind of do you just kind of take a hit for the first couple of events until you kind of prove yourself and then hope that people buy tickets? Like say with the crowd turning up at the venue or giving out some tickets to ensure that there's a larger crowd and that kind of stuff. And even like the team signups and stuff was kind of low. Like there was one team on their own who got annoyed at Hiller when he pointed out that they were on their own. Do you just kind of take the hit on that and just persist and hope that those divisions fill up as it gains maturity and that people buy tickets as like right off the bat as it gains maturity sort of?
I mean, look, we're new. We're building something. I've told the team since day one, like, you don't like creating a competition for the community. It's not easy. Like, it doesn't just happen because you're World Fitness Project. Just because you have, 40 signed pros doesn't mean the intermediate athlete from Denver, Colorado is going to sign up for your comp. You have to provide them value, and we have to create that. And that's part of the role of growth. And it's, we're making some changes of what that's going to look like next year because we feel like as we move tour stops from place to place, it's going to be difficult to grow that part of the competition. So we have some really cool things that I'm not ready to announce yet, but we will be announcing soon as to how we're going to get a really large community division at the finals. And I think that's really what people want, is they want an opportunity to go compete at the finals, and we're going to give them that. And that's what Copenhagen's going to be. I mean, I have a competition that my podium winners are going to qualify into the finals. Tour 1 and Tour 2 winners are qualifying into the finals. Yeah. And then as far as ticket sales go, we sold a lot of tickets. Did we give tickets away? Of course. I mean, why wouldn't you give tickets away? We want people to see the show because it is good in person. I think anybody you talked to that was here, hopefully some people that were here, hopefully they said that the experience was good. The venue was really cool. It was a great experience. The seats were great. It was full. We have fitness projects, in the Mesa area that we of course gave tickets to. We wanted the people in this community to come and support the event and see the athletes. So yeah, absolutely we would.
Do the other division? So, like, say that team, that Arizona team, they don't go to? It's just the pros that go, or the challenge. Who goes to Copenhagen? Everybody, or is there new people in Copenhagen competing in the divisions outside of the elites? Say,
Yeah, we're taking elite teams of 4, intermediate teams of 4, scaled teams of 4, and we're taking duos, and we have World
new
Fitness
teams
Trials.
though, not like someone from this weekend.
Correct.
Okay.
You're going to be able to sign up and do the World Fitness Trials, which we know is going to be very heavily Europe influenced, which is fine. We've had a lot of communication with the people that have podiumed here and in Tour 1. We're going to get some good United States and North American influence there, but we know, we're going to have a heavy influence of Europeans there, which is great. I mean, Europe needs it. We want to reward them for that. But the World Fitness Trials are October 6th to the 26th, 1 workout a week for 4 weeks. And depending on how many people accept the invites prior to you signing up on October 6th, we'll be able to release how many spots are available.
Oh, I follow. Okay. So there'll be spots taken and then remaining spots will be given to the trials people or whatever.
Correct.
Okay. You mentioned there about you said earlier on about being in charge of or involved with the broadcast, and you put up a photo or a video or something where you're walking through what looked like an insane mass of cables and screens and all this kind of shit.
Yeah.
How involved are you with that? Are you just like setting the guys up in their room and saying like, all right, guys, if you need anything, let me know, and then walking out of the room thinking, please God, don't fucking need anything? Or like, how hands-on are you with that?
No, I mean, you got to be kidding me. I'm not responsible for that. Overall, how it goes, I'm accountable to it, but I'm not responsible for it. So that was a funny thing to post, that like, as the event director, you walk back there and like, you want to talk about overwhelming. That's overwhelming. Those guys are incredible. I wasn't trying to steal anybody's thunder. So that was not the intent of that post. The intent of the post was something funny, like, wow, can you believe I'm responsible for this mess? That was the intent of the post. I have no technical skills whatsoever.
Well, I mean, as is evidenced by the start of this show, is
well, that's not, in all fairness, that's not really my fault. So.
With the broadcast, so early doors, it kind of raised a few eyebrows when it was said that it was going to be on the website and not on YouTube, and people were like, "Oh, fuck, I like watching it on YouTube," basically. And then there were some issues. So Tour Stop 1 seems to have, some of the feedback has been listened to, of adding a sometimes functioning rewind button. Anyway, I think it didn't work. Sometimes it did work other times, and
right.
Pause and stuff. And then there was a quicker kind of turnaround to get it up on YouTube afterwards. Like, it does well when it's on YouTube. So it's kind of like, why not just, like, I don't know if the translation is worth the effort involved and the annoyance it seems to cause. Is it not just easy to just say, all right, we tried it, cool, let's just go to YouTube, because it's just so much easier, and it's one massive complaint that's just gone immediately if you just swap?
I mean, I hear you. I get it. I've had friends that say the same thing. I did have some people that said they appreciated the effort and it was better. So I can't really answer that question. That's definitely not my decision as to where we stream the event. That's not what I was hired for. I think there's some things they're trying to do as a global space. We've had a lot of feedback from people that it is streaming in other languages, that they like it. So they're part of it. I don't have the right answer there, and I'm definitely not the right guy to say one way or the other. I mean, I understand the criticism and critique, for sure I do, but our team is really trying to hard to make this thing work for a lot of people, and to say we're not going to get better every time is we listen, and we're doing what we can to make this thing unique. Again, not my decision on what we do with the stream.
Have you access to a light switch? Like, could you flick on a light maybe during the event and kind of brighten it up a bit? That's one criticism that seems fairly consistent.
Yeah. It's a little dark, maybe, I guess. So watching it online, it doesn't look like that in person, so it's really hard to say. But yeah, I get, maybe you should just come in person and watch it so it looks good.
That's fair, yeah. I mean, I'm more likely to go to Copenhagen than Mesa, Arizona.
Okay.
I think I'd probably fucking melt if I went there.
You would, for sure.
World Fitness Project got 10 times the attention in Arizona than the last one. That's a win. Yeah, I mean, any publicity is good publicity.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't mean we don't want to. We're not trying to cause negative publicity just to have publicity, but I understand.
Was it so from looking at it, and you can correct or whatever, it's like Will, Jackson, you, Roger, Hanu, I don't know if he's employed or just like contracted to do the media, the broadcast and stuff, Brian, and then Ryan. Sorry, I probably should have put Ryan in with Will and Jackson at the start, but Ryan's wife, Maggie, or is that Jackson's wife? That's Ryan's wife.
That's Ryan's wife.
And then Jackson's wife, Isabella.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Isabel.
I'm
Isabel.
nailing these. And then you and Roger seem to be like the C-suite people, like the kind of management sort of team or whatever. Is that accurate?
I mean, I'm not an owner, so
no, but like, as in,
yeah.
you're the I don't know, the board is probably the wrong word, but like the guys, the top of the top brass. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you want to say. That's fine.
I mean, it is what I want to say.
Okay, then that's fine.
There was another guy on there for a while, Saxon. And then he was in charge of community development. Oh, sorry, Bickle. He's in community development now. I left him out. So Saxon was in charge of community development and then affiliates. And then just like from the outside, maybe it's different when you're there. Like there was a lot of discussion about it or something. But from the outside, it was just like, oh shit, Saxon's gone. And it was like an overnight sort of thing.
Yeah.
Does that cause a bit of turmoil? Is that a bit like, oh fuck, like when someone involved with you guys and someone who is there from early doors just says like, you know what, I'm leaving for whatever reason, family or work or whatever, it was just like, I'm out.
I mean, it didn't affect me any for what I do, but I mean, I love Saxon. Saxon's a great guy. I wish him nothing but the best, and he's going on to compete. But it didn't really affect the flow of what we're trying to accomplish.
But even like the confidence in it, or the I don't know, collective confidence. You
mean from people like you?
No, like from you guys operating together, and then one of you leaves, and then it's kind of like, oh shit, is everybody? Yeah, we're all still good, right? You know, like there's a bit of is there any shifting or?
No, that's not an issue. I mean, we all know Saxon, and I knew that after 5 conversations with Saxon that guy wants to compete, and he's 28 years old, and I knew exactly what was going to happen with Saxon. He's way too competitive to be done, so I think he's where he should be.
Was there any, so like he was on the commentary at the games? I saw this morning he's on like the people or humans of CrossFit. They put up a post about him. Is there any part of you that was like he was a plant? Like he was like put in here to gather information.
You're not the only person to ask that question. So no, I don't think he's a plant. But I don't think there's that many. Everybody thinks there's all these secrets. There's not that many secrets. I mean, just ask me. I'll probably tell you whatever you want to know for the most part. I mean, we're not hiding secrets. We're developing a system that we hope is better than the one that exists. And that's all there is to it. And we're gonna win. We're gonna have some huge wins, and I think we have. And we're gonna have some things that happen that we're like, well, that wasn't good. We should probably change that. And to not change those and to not recognize that, well, everybody just like wants to throw darts at us. Like, okay, but we're doing what we can to make those changes. And at the end of the day, we're trying to create something unique. And of course, I'm going to say that, and everybody's going to say there's nothing unique about what you're doing. Oh, okay. Then if that's what you think, then you don't understand tour sports, and you don't understand what we're trying to accomplish. Just because some movements are the same doesn't mean we're trying to create the exact same thing. We are trying to create something different. I think the point system's unique. I still think a lot of people don't understand it. I don't think they understand what's going to happen when the person standing on the podium at Copenhagen may not be the winner of the season. They're going to be super confused by that. And so that's okay. It's going to take a little bit of while to understand how that works, but I think it's unique. That's what we're trying to do. I hope everybody sees that. And I hope everybody doesn't hear me say anything that we don't care anything about the community because we're so hyper focused on the competition and the competitors, because we've sunk a lot of time and effort into getting them taken care of and getting into communities. I've spent more time in Phoenix than I have my hometown. Like, we're here all the time because it matters to us. And this is my 5th time in Phoenix since Indy's been over, and I had to throw in a 1,000-person competition in Kansas City in the middle of that. So it matters to us. It matters a lot. I mean, I've been in Phoenix since, I don't even know what today is. What's today? Tuesday? I don't leave till tomorrow. So I've been here 11 days. And while we were here, we went and visited gyms and worked out with people and did activations and met with the city and tried to find out what was important. And that's all we're trying to do. I hope people see that. Not everybody's going to like it. And that's okay, man. Not everybody's going to like what we're doing. I get it. That's okay.
Yeah. Is there any truth to rumors that World Fitness Project tried to buy CrossFit?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, I'm not going to be paid into that conversation, but I'm definitely not sitting there. I don't have a checkbook to buy CrossFit. So, I think from what I've understood, everybody and their brother is trying to buy CrossFit. So who knows? Maybe.
Wadapalooza is in March next year. It's moved from January, and I swear I saw somewhere that there's a World Fitness Project in March as well. Did I imagine that was that announced, but not the location?
It hasn't been announced a date, but I mean it's out there. It's not a secret. We are having our first event in Spain in March.
Oh, and that's in, what do you call it? Mallorca.
Mallorca, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're really excited about that. The venue's incredible. Again, this has been planned for a long time, well before a date was announced then. So Wadapalooza has always, been in January, and now it's not. But we have to start our season when we have to start our season. So we're doing what we can to figure that out, and with our athletes and everybody. But trying to stay on the front side of the season starting for the athletes. We have to be in March.
Is the rest of it mapped out then? The other 2?
Generally, I mean, not ready to be announced, but generally, we'll the reason why we want to go in March is because we don't want to go again until June. That makes sense to us. So we're trying to skip all of that. So that makes sense to us. And then probably this time, roughly next year, for 3. That makes sense.
Is the June one a risk, like with semifinals and not knowing what's happening there? Do you just have to kind of take a punt and hope that you get the date right, basically?
Yeah, I mean, who knows what they're doing, right? I mean, nobody knows, but we just have to put our season together at this point. So
have you asked or no?
Yeah, there's been some conversations with a lot of people trying to figure out what the best to do, but ultimately we have to decide and do what's best for World Fitness Project moving forward. And so that's kind of where we stand on that.
Are the locations set? Mallorca, the other 2 set? You don't have to say where they are, but like, are they? The second 2 in the final.
Generally, yes. We're waiting for a couple things to come through, but like generally, we have a really good idea of what next season is going to look like. It's going to be announced fairly soon. It'll be announced before Copenhagen for sure.
You might as well just do it now then.
Yeah.
Is World Fitness Project at the stage yet where you can go to a city and say, would you like us to come to you? What can you offer us? Or is it still at the stage where you're like, you know what I mean? Some events, like I think the games, could go to Albany and say, if we come here, what can we expect? Or, and then there's some cities they go to that just be like, fuck off, and they'll go somewhere else. But like, are you guys at that stage yet or no?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot that we bring to a market when we come. So we're here for a long time. We bring pros to the market for a long time. It depends on the city, how big of a city you want to go to and how big of an impact you want to have. We had a huge impact on Westfield, Indiana, which is Indianapolis, metro, but Westfield, Indiana, Hamilton County is, their sports commission is incredible. They rolled out the red carpet for us. They want us back really, really badly, and they were amazing. to work with. So that's, Indianapolis, the Westfield market is an option for us to go back to. The facility was amazing. It was huge, maybe too big, but it's a possibility for all those things. But yeah, I mean, cities reach out to us all the time.
Is it
I mean,
likely that you'll return somewhere, or do you think you'll have all new ones?
As an event director, it'd be awesome to go back to someplace twice.
Okay. Final in Europe or not in Europe if the first event is in Europe?
It's possible.
Okay, so final in Europe. Okay.
I didn't say that. So
I know I said it.
don't all you guys cut that up and say I said. I did not say that. I said it's possible, and it's also possible to be in North America.
Okay. The athlete, what's the word I'm looking for? Exclusivity has been talked about a lot, especially in the last. It came up at the start. It was kind of quashed. Will was like, "No, we'd never do that," and then it kind of came up again in the last like maybe 2 or so weeks. It was kind of rumblings of it again. Are you aware of that being a thing? Either actually said to them, "We need you to compete, to choose where you're competing," or sort of implied or implicit or whatever the correct use of that verb is by the structure of the season, the points, the setup of the season, that it's like it would be very difficult to actually do both. So by signing a contract, you're agreeing that if you want to earn the contract, you probably have to avoid the game season or part of it at least.
No, again, I don't even know where that came from exactly. That is in nobody's contract, and that's never been stated. And I'm on record right now in front of everybody saying there is not an exclusivity agreement in any contract. That's not been talked about. It's not anything that we tell anybody. I'm a capitalist. Let the chips fall where they may. If we do a good job, then eventually athletes may choose. They may choose to do both. I know athletes that would compete every weekend if you let them. So it just kind of depends. We're not telling anybody what to do. Absolutely not.
Are you happy with? I mean, you're talking about taking on a more extensive role, I guess. So you must be happy. But are you happy with the team that you have? Like the judging, the scoring. I know some of that is movable and malleable and will depend on where the event is, and it'll chop and change and stuff. But like, say the higher ups in those roles, are you like, yeah, we're set. Like we're happy with where we are here, and we can add a couple of people or whatever. But like, there's no baby with the bathwater sort of action needed.
No, I mean, I don't think anybody is not replaceable, including myself. So I've always lived by that mantra. So there is not one person on this team that is not a replaceable person. That's judging, scoring, equipment leads, head of safety, event director for North America. There's nobody that's not replaceable, and I believe that 100%.
Cool.
I don't know if that's what you're asking me, but
no, it is. Yeah, I was just kind of gestating on it. Out of 10, what would you give the first two events if you had to rank, say, Tour Stop 1 out of 10 and Tour Stop 2 out of 10?
I'm a hypercritical person, so I go back and lean to all the things where the things I'm responsible for that I feel like I fell down on, things that have never happened before that I should see, things that I should do. So I mean, I give our events, I give our team for being where we are. I think out of 10, I'm going to be critical. My team's probably going to be mad at me, but I give us an 8. I think we have room to improve, but I think we're a strong B, and I think we're doing the right thing.
Okay. The way you
I do say there's things that we've done that are below an 8. So an 8, I know I'm like already hearing all of the parodying going on that we think we're well above average, and that's not the intent of that statement. The intent of that statement is we have room to improve, but I think we've done a really, really good job for where we are, what we've done, what we're offering, and we're breaking new ground on what this looks like together. And that's what I mean by that statement.
Did you have to clear doing this show with anyone? Like, did you have to say, "Oh, I'm going"? No, you should be.
Nope.
You should suggest being more forward facing for the company. You're a good talker, a good interview.
That's why I'm on here.
Not
because I'm a good talker, and because I do want to be more forward facing for the company, because I want language to be clear as we roll out 2026 structure. It's super, super critical that everybody understands what the WFP season looks like from start to finish, period. It should be able to be regurgitated. If somebody say, what is 2026? How do I qualify for 2026 season? It should be simple. And that is what we're going to do.
There's a great picture. I think it's on Chris's Instagram of you at the briefing for event 1 at the games with like just you were like Bruce Willis in what's that? Is it Unbreakable? What's that movie?
Is it Unbreakable? It is.
I think it is Unbreakable. Yeah. But I was curious, like when you were at the games, either before the games, like when you were going, or when you were there, was there any part of you that like, you know, got like a bit of a clenched rectum when you're around certain people, or a bit like, oh shit, like nervousness, or like, fuck, are people going to be a dick to me? Like, is anyone going to be weird with me, or is everything going to be fine?
I'm not afraid of anybody in the space. You got to be kidding me. That's hilarious. But if you know me, you know that I could care less what anybody thinks. I care how we are perceived. I don't necessarily care what people think. So caring, it carries two sides of it. So if we're putting out the perception and we're being perceived wrong, that's on us. We have to fix that. But I don't care what people necessarily think about me. I don't care if people think, oh, he's at the game, what is he doing at the game? I can go to the CrossFit games. I can say CrossFit. Like, people have lost their minds on making this such a big deal. What's really fun, I'll tell you a funny story. After Hiller had posted find a picture of Will Morad or whatever, and I'll put you on my page, which I thought was really funny, by the way. I've never seen so many people popping around corners taking pictures of us walking around. So like, I think that stuff's funny. I think that stuff is healthy. I think that's more stuff like that should happen, because that was funny. And very unique over the weekend. But I had the CrossFit crew come. They obviously have no idea who I am, which was funny. I'm wearing a World Fitness Project shirt. They probably weren't paying attention, but I had 2 girls and a cameraman come up to me and put a microphone in my face, say, hey, can you tell us how CrossFit has changed your life? And I said, hey, I would be glad to do that, but I just think I should go ahead and disclose to you that I'm the event director for World Fitness Project. And her mouth dropped open, and I was like, let's just like go ahead and, laugh about this and not really worry about it. I won't get you in trouble, and it's no big deal, and I won't get myself in trouble. So I thought that was funny that, I'm worried. Here I am, like, am I worried people are going to see me, and CrossFit comes to me and asks me to give a statement on camera about how CrossFit's changed my life. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, the only thing that would have made both of those stories better is if you sent Hiller a picture of you and Will at some point, and then if you also just let that happen, because I really wanted to see like an editor just editing a video being like, isn't this the guy? Like, if you just had let it run, I wonder how far it would have gotten before someone caught it and we're like, wait, not that video. It would have just gone out and nobody noticed.
I thought about it for a second. I did. I guess I'm too chicken to like run with it that far, because my wife would have killed me if I would have done that. But I actually thought about it for a split second. I'm like, do I go ahead and like go into some story here? But I didn't do it. Now on hindsight, I wish I would have, even though I shouldn't have. I did the right thing. I think it would have been funny to do that.
Or you could have also tried to smuggle like the words world, fitness, and project into your answer somewhere. Be like, well, it changed the world, it's changed fitness.
I'm not that smart, man. I would have screwed that up for sure, and then I would have been a meme.
With you said there about not saying CrossFit, is that a thing? Like, is it? I know there was the issue with Adler's video and there was like a copyright ping or whatever, so I understand like footage, but there does seem to be either, I think I heard Lauren say it to Chris in his post-win interview, but I really don't think I heard the word CrossFit or games or CrossFit Games or Fittest on Earth or anything over the course of the weekend. It was like Albany was mentioned a couple of weeks ago, was mentioned. Like, is there an effort, or is it just like, maybe a fear of if it's said that there could be some kind of, I don't know how you can impinge free speech, but
I mean, not from me, not from the higher ups. We don't direct that. I mean, if they're making decisions, to be cautious about what they say on their own. I don't want the athletes to be cautious. I want them to be proud of what they've accomplished. I want them to be proud of what they've what they just, if they, look, everybody knows I'm really good friends with Chris Savard. He came up in my gym. He walked into my office as a 19-year-old kid, and I love him. I would go to war with that kid, but I want him to be proud that he was at the games 2 weeks ago. I want him to be proud. I also want him to be proud that he made Tour Stop 1 and did really well against the pros, and he wasn't happy that he didn't make the pro division here, and he came out and got first, and he has a lot of work to do, but he wants his pro card for World Fitness, and I want him to be proud of that too. And I don't care if he wants to go and be, go try to stand on the podium at the CrossFit Games. Good. If that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. I root for athletes. I want athletes to do what they feel is best for them, and whatever I can do to support that, then I'm going to do it. I just hope that they understand what the World Fitness Project season looks like and how it can be advantageous to have that be a part of their schedule.
I stand corrected. I heard Gaines mentioned throughout the weekend. Lauren Smith said CrossFit Games and Fitness Unearthed a bunch. They did mention it numerous times. I stand corrected. Multiple times I listened, I heard a couple of weeks ago.
I did too, but I don't want to argue with
whatever. Yeah, that's fair. All right. So next, then there's no challenger division at Copenhagen. Then it's just the top 20 and the top 20. No, 40
it's
and 40.
30 and 30.
Fucking hell, I'm dumb. Sorry. So 30
That's
and 30.
Okay.
I just didn't want to say 30 because people would just make fun of me. So the top 20 plus 10 and the top 20 plus 10.
Yeah.
And then, so will there be more events then, or do you know how many events?
I do, but I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
It's 4 days. So yeah, there'll be more events.
Okay.
I mean, you can see that. Yeah, you can see that by the dates listed for the event.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for
thanks for having me. Thanks for asking me. Yeah, thanks for asking me good questions, and thanks for caring. I know that there's people out there in the space that care. I know that we get a hard time, but I want to be able to address things as they come, as they see fit. And I'm sorry my connection was terrible. That was embarrassing. So I'm sorry about that.
No, it's not your fault. Don't worry. We'll blame the.
I'm going to blame Arizona Athletic Grounds.
Blame the broadcast team. It's fine. They can hack it.
Oh, that's a great point.
All right. Thank you. What day is today? Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Rich Froning's coming on Thursday. So come back and watch that. Anyone who's interested. And then an affiliate show on Friday with Johnny and JR, or Thursday as well with Johnny and JR. And go and watch the video on 179 and CrossFit Leamington. 2 good affiliates in the UK. Thanks, Jason. Thanks everyone for watching. See you on whatever day.